a lot of people want to say you're studying the brain and they want to know what disease. And I sort of want to know how it works in health. And as a chemist studying the brain, the question is, how do you make it simpler? And so I started looking at things like sea slugs, which have 10,000 neurons, but they can learn what to eat, what not to eat, how to find a mate. So the same types of behaviors maybe you would expect. And so we started looking at animals across the animal kingdom, the metazoan, and we worked with quite a few. And some of the hardest ones are when the animals are hard to get. We did some work on Dicidicus gigas. This is a giant squid that's found several thousand feet deep, except in La Nina years. And so then what do you do when you can't get them? And so those are hard because the samples aren't always around, and it's a little bit awkward. The thing that I have found actually kind of interesting and gratifying is actually that no matter what animal we work with, from a human sample to a sea slug to a coral, they still use the same molecules. And so in some ways, as we get better on a simpler system, it really applies to working with, say, primates or humans. And so the hardest projects were the ones in the past, and now that things work well, in some ways, a lot of them are a little bit easier. It takes a while, but you eventually come to realize that the most important output of your group is not the 500 papers, but it's the graduate students and postdocs. I have a particular mentoring style where in some ways, I don't like people to tell me what to do. So to the best of my ability, I like to give people the freedom to do what they want. And I have to qualify that. That's also, they have to follow compliance and safety if we're working with animals. So those aspects, you get in a car, you wear a seatbelt, you have to follow the safety rules. If you're working with animals, you have to follow lots of protocols. But I want to give people the option to fail. I want to let people have the option to learn. At the same time, I want to have a supporting environment. One of the keys, I think, is that people specialize within the group, and I want to make sure that they work together. It's not a competitive group. You reward teamwork and success, and so that works well. The other thing I would say is that my group has people that want to go in industry, some that want to go into academics. If they're interested in an academic career, then papers might be important, and maybe they take a little longer and get a few more results. And so it really, I try to adapt to the individuals. There is, in some ways you become, you have a new job in the pharmaceutical industry, you have a job in academics, and you know that you're supposed to write grants, attract students, but how do you do that? How do you make the changes and different transitions throughout your career? And while you can ask colleagues, having a track where that is the theme of the discussion can be very useful. And what is nice about this is that because it's at Pittcon as opposed to a specialty meeting, the people attending are a little bit broader in terms of their backgrounds. So the session that I'm involved with has people that have started companies, that are working in industry. I'm talking about an academic. And so hopefully the diverse perspectives means that you can pick up some advice that actually may help you a little bit more than if you were very narrowly focused.